Ignoring your super until you hit 50 is a genuinely dangerous game. We're talking about the difference between traveling the world and stressing over the weekly
Spouse contributions. If your partner earns significantly less, say they're taking time off for parental leave,
right off the bat. Do you actually know how much super you've got right now? Not a guess, the actual number. Most Australians don't, and that's a massive problem, because the average person is sitting on a pile of money they barely understand. Money that could literally be the difference between retiring comfortable or retiring stressed. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what superannuation is, how it actually grows, the hidden mistakes costing you thousands, and the simple moves that could add tens of thousands of dollars to your retirement without you lifting a finger. If you've ever looked at your super statement and gone, yeah, no, I don't get it, well, this explainer is for you. Let's get into it.
That widespread ignorance I just mentioned, that's exactly what makes the whole system so risky. You see, when you aren't paying attention, your money is just quietly leaking away.
Your super until you hit 50 is a genuinely dangerous game. We're talking about the difference between traveling the world and stressing over the week. Taking the time to understand your super right now is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so how does super actually work? Let's dive into the baseline basics. Superannuation, or super, is basically compulsory retirement savings here in Australia. By law, your employer is legally required to put money into a fund on your behalf. It's called the Superannuation Guarantee, and right now that's 12% of your salary. But here is the real kicker. That 12% is on top of your wage, not out of it. It's extra money you're earning every single time you get paid. Think of it like this. Super is essentially a locked box that your employer fills up every payday. And the money inside doesn't just sit there gathering dust. It gets invested in shares, property, bonds, all sorts of assets. And it grows, completely untouched, until you hit your preservation age, which for most people these days is 60. Unless there are special circumstances, like severe financial hardship or a terminal illness, that box stays locked.
and the reason it actually matters that the box stays locked for decades? 2 words: compound growth. Your investment earnings generate their own earnings over time. A dollar put into your super in your 20s has 40+ years to grow and compound upon itself. A dollar put in at 50? Well, it has a lot less time. That is exactly why starting early, or fixing mistakes early, makes such an incredible difference.
Right. Let's talk about 4 costly mistakes where people lose money without even realizing it.
Mistake number 1. Holding multiple super accounts. If you've changed jobs a few times over the years, there's a really good chance you've got 2, 3, maybe even 4 accounts sitting around out there, and each one charges its own set of fees. That is your money quietly leaking out every single year. But it's an easy fix. Just head to the ATO website, log in with MyGov, and check. You can consolidate those extra accounts into one with just a few clicks.
Mistake number 2 is sitting in the default option. Most people never actively choose their investment option, so the fund dumps them in the default, which is usually a balanced option. Now, that's not necessarily terrible, but if you're young, you could be missing out. A growth or high growth option often delivers much better long-term returns purely because you have decades to ride out the inevitable ups and downs of the stock market.
Mistake number 3, ignoring your fees. Fees sound so small, right? 1% here, 1.5% there. It sounds like absolutely nothing. But over 30 or 40 years, a tiny 1% difference in fees compounds into tens of thousands of dollars lost from your final balance. Taking 5 minutes to compare your fund's fees against others is literally one of the highest value things you can do.
And mistake number 4, not checking the insurance you're paying for. Most super funds automatically bundle in life insurance and income protection. Sometimes that's genuinely useful. But sometimes you're paying for cover you simply don't need, or that duplicates a policy you already have outside of super.
It's a super common drain on your balance, and it is absolutely worth a check.
Now for the good part. Let's move on to the moves that can genuinely boost your balance.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of the most powerful tools at your disposal: salary sacrifice. This just means asking your employer to put extra money into your super before tax. Instead of that money being taxed at your normal income tax rate, which could be 30, 37, even 45%, it's taxed inside super at a flat 15%. For a lot of people, that is just a massive immediate win.
Then there is the government co-contribution. If you're a lower to middle income earner and you put in some after-tax money yourself, the government can actually chip in up to $500 extra. I mean, guys, it's basically free money, but a shocking amount of people don't even know it exists.
Spouse contributions. If your partner earns significantly less, say they're taking time off for parental leave, contribute to their super and actually get a tax offset for it. It's a fantastic way to even out retirement savings as a couple. And finally, choosing the right fund matters. Not all super funds perform the same over 5, 10, or 15-year periods. You've got to compare your fund's long-term performance using the government's Your Super comparison tool.
Okay, let's look at the $50 difference. Let's make all of these abstract concepts incredibly concrete and real for you. Say you're 30 years old, earning $75,000 a year, with $40,000 already sitting in super right now. If you do nothing extra, just let that 12% employer contribution tick away, by age 65, you might land somewhere around $500,000 to $600,000. Not bad, but look at this. If you add just $50 a week in voluntary salary sacrifice starting today, over those same 35 years, that alone could add well over $100,000 to your final balance. That is purely because of compound time working in your favor the whole way. It's wild, right?
So here is your 10-minute action plan. None of these moves require huge amounts of money. What they require is a tiny amount of action. So here's a completely non-intimidating homework assignment. First, log into the ATO via MyGov. Second, consolidate any extra accounts to stop leaking fees. Third, check your fees and long-term performance using the Your Super tool. Fourth, review your investment options. And fifth, look at your budget and consider if a small salary sacrifice makes sense for you. Just 10 minutes of administrative work today could genuinely be worth tens of thousands of dollars in retirement.
Super isn't exactly the most thrilling topic, I know, but it is one of the biggest assets you will ever have. A few small decisions today compound into a massive difference decades from now. Later always costs more. Inaction has a massive price tag. So, what's stopping you from taking control of your financial future right now? If this explainer helped clear the fog around your super, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments below. I'll pin the most common one and answer it in our next explainer. See you then.